You know, scholars, I was thinking of the term "he's him," which has cropped up in the sports world, notably around basketball, to convey how special a player's performance was, and eventually it would spread around social media and be applied to moments in pop culture as well. So I started to look at games and movies and think about what the most "I'm him" or "I'm her" moments are, and when I had the draft of my list initially, I said, you know what, most of these characters are from horror. So I'm gonna hold off on some of my entries and look at what some of the biggest "I'm him" or "her" moments are in horror. What's up, scholars? Moira here, and welcome to Book of Showtime Chapter 84. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to leave a like and share with your friends, and if you have a topic you'd like me to cover for Book of Showtime, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below, or anywhere you can reach me on social media or the Book of Showtime Discord. This is a chapter I've been wanting to work on for a very long time. It was going to be part of last year's October lineup, but obviously with my computer going down, that wasn't able to happen. But I'm so excited to finally be able to do this. This chapter doesn't need any more exposition, so let's just jump right in and kick things off with Frank West from Dead Rising. Now, Frank West might have covered wars, but he's never covered zombies. For a simple photojournalist trying to get the scoop of a lifetime, Frank goes well above and beyond his pay grade during the Willamette outbreak. He takes down raging psychopaths, special ops soldiers, and hordes of zombies while rescuing survivors and exposing a massive conspiracy. Not to mention he survives being infected long enough to come up with the ingredients to make a vaccine. This is equivalent to the Michael Jordan flu game mixed in with LeBron leading the Cavaliers from being down 3-1. Just an all-around legendary performance. Now, some of you might ask why Frank and not Chuck or Nick. In Chuck's case, the existence of zombies was known, and Fortune City wasn't even his first outbreak. Plus, he has his dad's strength, which is unmatched. That's just not fair. As for Nick, same thing. Zombies are well known by this point in time, and that would also mean saying something positive about Dead Rising 3, which we will not be doing on this channel. Next up, Claire Redfield from Resident Evil. Chris, Jill, Leon, Ada, Carlos, Hunk, they have all had some form of combat training. While Claire was the sister of a marksman, and hey, maybe those skills can be in the blood, she was just a college student at the end of the day, and surviving Raccoon City was no small feat. First, she dealt with the massive horde of zombies on her way to the police station. Then she had to deal with the monstrous bioweapons and the tyrant inside the police station, all while protecting a young Sherry Birkin. She's not the stepmom, she's the mom that stepped up. Annette did nothing but run around and get her ass kicked the entire time. This is like that meme where they said she should be at the club right now. This is Claire, but instead of the club, it's AP calculus or whatever they teach in college, I don't know. What's even more impressive is that she followed this feat up 2 months later with a daring solo mission storming Umbrella headquarters in Europe, which is pretty ballsy for a college student to do. Most people would have said, look, I escaped the biggest nightmare ever, time to relax and go to therapy, but not Claire. She took Raccoon City personally. That was a lick back. I think King Von was inspired by this. She went directly into the furnace, and yes, she got captured, but it's the thought that counts. Claire is her. Let's shift over to movies and do Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. Ash was just heading to a cabin to spend a weekend with his friends, playing cards and having premarital quarters, which I disagree with, but of course they accidentally awaken ancient evil, because of course they do. And of course when they try to leave, the bridge is taken out. Now he's stuck in the cabin, isolated from the world as the demonic forces possess his friends, and he's forced to take him out, which that can never be easy, having to smoke your friends. In the follow-up to Evil Dead, Ash's nightmare would continue, more demonic forces and a new cast of characters that he has to watch get killed off, and he would also have to amputate his own hand with a chainsaw. So now he's doing all of this one-handed. Now here's where the performance really kicks in. In Army of Darkness, Ash is cast into medieval times where he has to not only make do with primitive tools and no internet pornography, but also a lot more deadites to boot. That's 3 movies that take place all in the span of a few days. This is equivalent to like a Linsanity run. And everything that Ash did was on instinct. It's not like he had any formal combat training. He was a young man in college, only 24 or 25 years old, so he didn't really have that cagey old guy instinct. This was just a you or me type of thing. I'm getting out of here alive no matter what. He is from Michigan, so that might just be some Michigan toughness. Whatever the reasoning though, Ash, he's him. Back to games, Isaac Clarke. Now I think this might be the most I'm him performance of any horror character. As an engineer, Isaac lands on the Ishimura with the intention of doing any necessary repairs while his crew responds to a distress signal, but we all know how these stories go. Wrong. They go very, very wrong. And now Isaac has to face horrors beyond his comprehension using various tools to defend himself. That's one thing I like about the Dead Space series. Most of the guns, so to speak, are really just engineering tools repurposed for violence. Not only is he fighting all types of nightmarish creatures, but he's facing the environment and the psychological effects of the marker. The Ishimura is falling apart with a lot of areas locked down or in need of repair, and as the lone person capable of performing these tasks, it's usually up to him to bail out the crew. The entire time, the marker's influence is slowly spreading in the background over the few living inhabitants of the Ishimura, so Isaac is just really working overtime to stay alive, and that's why I think he is him. Our last gaming rep today, Heather Mason. Do you scholars call her Heather or Cheryl? Like when people call Hank Aaron Henry. Henry Aaron, you know? Henry Aaron kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit better. I prefer Henry some days, I won't lie. Anyway, the protagonist of Silent Hill 3 finds herself on the list because of her age, build, and grit. At 17, she's the youngest character we discussed so far, and she's not that big or strong. But after coming home to find her father murdered by Claudia, she decides to go into Silent Hill for revenge, willingly. Like, why would you go there willingly? This is just more proof of how white women don't play in horror, and Heather has some beach ball-sized white girl balls. That's quite the sentence. I didn't even comprehend it as I was saying it, but seriously, a skinny teen walking down God with a metal pipe? That is a horror protagonist Hall of Fame moment. She wasn't in much of a talking mood much of the game either. This was like a Kawhi Leonard, Kobe Bryant type mentality. She was not with any nonsense. To be so young and so steadfast is what makes Heather stand out today. Solving all those puzzles, surviving the environment, keeping her head on her shoulders, she can do it all. She is her. Heather Mason. That wasn't funny, I'm sorry. Finally, let's end the chapter with Ellen Ripley. Again, we have a standout performance with an amazing follow-up, as Ellen had to deal with the fearsome xenomorph while trapped on her ship. Now, being trapped in a city or in a base is one thing, but being way out in deep space where it'll be a long time for anyone to come looking, it just raises the stakes. You not only have to survive and evade the threats that come, but you gotta take them out, otherwise you're gonna die. Ellen wasn't even in charge of the ship that she was on, but when things hit the fan, she was the only one keeping things together as the crew attempted to take out the alien. She just always had a plan, always had that sixth sense. She was just so calm and collected the entire time. As much as I hate Tom Brady, it's kind of like that picture of when Tom Brady's on the bench with his head down while they're losing to the Falcons in the Super Bowl right before he had that huge 28-3 comeback. This was her. Fast forward to the sequel, Aliens, and once again she finds herself against all odds despite entering the movie with a squad of Colonial Marines. It was really just Ripley and friends versus a horde of xenomorphs, and like before, she wasn't in charge, but she took charge. And even like Claire back in Raccoon, she had to be the mom that stepped up, taking care of Newt, as well as walking down the Xenomorph Queen. She walked into the Xenomorph Queen's lair. Like, what's with her and Heather? What's with these white women? Why do you not fear nothing? That's just crazy to me. Ellen Ripley is one of the most iconic horror movie characters, and with her role and with that character changing the norms for women in sci-fi, and with how much she kicks serious ass in these movies, Ellen Ripley was, in all honesty, the first her. Alright, scholars, thank you so much for watching this chapter. Let me know down below what are some standout performances in horror. Inshallah, I will see you in the next chapter.